Imagine going back more than 10,000 years ago to a time when people painted on cave walls or on cliff faces. In a valley in Argentina, there's a cave called the Cueva de los Manos, or the Cave of the Hands. Can you guess why this prehistoric cave is called that? Because it's covered in hand paintings. But why do you think ancient people painted all these hands? Hi, I'm Lauren, and today let's explore this amazing prehistoric cave art together. It's a chance for us to think about why our hunter-gatherer ancestors wanted to make art in the first place. And guess what? While you might be familiar with prehistoric cave sites in Europe, like Altamira in Spain or Lascaux in France, people aren't as familiar with cave art on other continents. So let's go explore some rock art in South America. The Cave of the Hands is one of the most famous examples of rock art in the world. The paintings are found in a rock shelter located deep in the Río Pinturas canyon in the northwest of Santa Cruz province in Argentina. The valley is striking for the high cliff faces that rise upward from the canyon floor, where a river winds its way through the valley. High above the valley floor is the painted cave, which has images spread across about 500 meters. Now let's talk about the art itself. Ancient artists didn't just paint hands. They created all sorts of things using different pigments in red, black, yellow, white, and even violet. Pigment is a colored powder that has to be mixed with another material to create paint. Artists here use these pigments to create a lot of different subjects. There are animals, including the guanacos, which are camelids local to the area, kind of like a llama or an alpaca. There are also painted animal tracks, hunting scenes, human figures, abstract forms, and of course, many, many hands. There are even sections where it seems like a person used fur or another material to wrap something, which they then soaked in pigment before throwing it against the rock wall. But of course, it's most famous for the many types of hands found here. Hands like this aren't unique to Cueva de los Manos. You can find them in other caves around the world. But what's cool about Cueva de los Manos is that there are just so many of them. By one count, there are 829 left hands and 31 right hands. There are big hands from adults and even the smaller hands of children. Let's see if you can tell the difference. So, how did they make all these painted hands? People would walk up to the rocky hall and place their hands against it. Then, they'd spray pigment against it, leaving a hand imprint on the cave wall. They create negatives or negative hands. It's like using a stencil and spray paint. This is different than placing your hand in paint and stamping it onto the wall. For negative hands like these, the pigment was likely puffed from the mouth, maybe through a bone spray pipe. This also means that maybe both adults and children created these hands because the pigment was most likely sprayed from a person against their own hand. You might also be wondering, why all the left hands? Well, it's because most likely people held the spray pipe in their right hand. All the colors we see at the site come from natural mineral pigments found in the area. For instance, the red and purple come from iron oxides. So things like ocher, which is found in a lot of places around the world. It's really the world's earliest paint color. Now, if you're like me, you've been asking yourself, well, how in the world do they still look so good after so many thousands of years exposed to the elements? It turns out that their really good state is due to the environment of Santa Cruz province. The rocks that form the cave are stable. It's dry, so not very humid, which can be really destructive to art. And there isn't a lot of water damage. There are things about Cueva de los Manos that still remain a mystery though, like why did they paint all these hands? What did they mean? Unfortunately, they were painted so long ago that we don't really know. This was before people had written records in the area, which is why we call this prehistoric art. Still, we have to imagine that given how much painting is here, and even the repeated forms like the handprints, suggest that these were important. They weren't just beautiful to look at. Some people have suggested that they had ritual or religious meanings, others that they marked important places. Even without knowing the exact meanings behind why people decided to make these many thousands of years ago, their importance for understanding the human impulse to create art remains. For this reason, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which recognizes the site's significance. In more recent years, places like Cueva de los Manos have suffered from vandalism like graffiti, or even people taking bits and pieces of the cave paintings as tourist trinkets. So it's up to us to protect places like this, so generations to come can continue to appreciate them and be awed by what humans did in the past to inspire us today.